Is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an author, an addiction recovery coach, and life coach, and the host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. And you can see a video version of this if you go to YouTube under channel Take Your Life Back Today show. Managing renegade emotions during a pandemic time. I don't know about the rest of you, but this isolation thing is wearing me down for many reasons. Let me just say this. Today, I am just going to focus on one of those things that are wearing me down. I look at unresolved issues. Yes, issues that have not been dealt with in a long time. I read somewhere in the last week or so what many of us have probably figured out by now. Being confined to home during a global pandemic and feeling helpless can trigger us into feeling things we haven't felt in a long time, things we thought we had dealt with, or things we have pushed down, way down into our hearts. Friends, and feeling them strongly is a sign that you need to deal with them. Most people who know me know I am, for the most part, easygoing, fairly balanced in my emotions, and have great sense of humor and a calming, healing demeanor. I try to maintain this equilibrium by regular prayer without stopping. Well, in the light of what we are going through, I can tell you that the of calming, healing demeanor has come into question, at least for me. I have a friend who knows me pretty good. On numerous occasions, my friend has told me I need to allow myself to be angry more. Beyond that calm facade, my friend says lies, many unexpressed emotions in the name of keeping the peace. He says to be fully me, I have to allow myself to be angry at things that don't bode well for my soul. Allowing myself to be angry is a difficult thing for me. I am a sensitive person by nature. Without going into too many details, the bottom line is that I have a highly reactive nervous system. Everything registers, and it registers deeply. So when strong emotions naturally hit and vary throughout the day, as they do currently, my first reaction is to feel out of control and then try to soothe myself. Because feeling those strong emotions is just too difficult, too overwhelming. Last night, I received an email from a spiritual magazine company with whom I had a long-time subscription. The email offered me a cut rate deal for a year's subscription to entice me back. I caved and resubscribed. I have really enjoyed this magazine for years, but during my most recent subscription, had found I frequently tossing the publication aside until I could get to it. That time usually never came. So, my friends, after my subscription went through last night, I logged on to the magazine's website, the content of which is usually limited to paid subscribers like myself. It just so happens that in the current issue, there are articles on, you guessed it, the spiritual flame of rage and wounded healers. Some of you might recognize the term wounded healers, as it was coined by the late spiritual writer Henry Nouwen. He even wrote a book entitled Wounded Healer. I've been told by people I know on several occasions that they see me as such. I'm thinking someone was trying to get my attention, but who? Well, I just thought it was a hunch. The article on rage talked about what many of us on a spiritual quest feel, that anger is, well, not spiritual, and that forgiveness is the most important thing in life itself. Well, yes, forgiveness is important, but any of us whom have ever had to forgive someone for a deep hurt, I'm guessing that is all of us, knows that getting to the genuine letting go is a process. Forgiveness takes time. Years, decades, sometimes, unfortunately, a long, long time. So, even as we do what we can to pray our way through the hard feelings or write unsent letters to a person we feel wronged us in some way or spent years in therapy, forgiveness takes time. In other words, if someone has genuinely wronged you and you feel a reflex of anger or rage, you shouldn't just try to push those feelings aside and ignore them. It is not good for you, and it's definitely not good for those with whom you live and love. So, friends, feelings of anger can be justified. They are a way of our body, mind, spirit tells us something is not right. They demand our attention, even if we would like to flee from them. We need to allow ourselves to feel them and to process them for our own well-being. And yet, they do not allow us to give an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, as Jesus tells us in the Gospel of Matthew. In fact, in that passage, he tells us if someone strikes us on our right cheek, we should turn the left cheek and give them the opportunity to strike us again, I guess. Yes, these are difficult words to wrap our heads around, as are many of Jesus's words. Because you remember, Jesus is not us. In the kingdom of God, Jesus shows us a world that is predicated on nonviolent behavior toward ourselves and toward each other. He even demonstrates this when Peter cuts off a Roman soldier's ear when they came to arrest Jesus, and Jesus restores the ear. Bottom line is, my friends, when we are assaulted with an array of negative emotions during this unprecedented time, emotions that seem to come out of nowhere, we owe it to ourselves and to each other to first be patient and loving and compassionate toward these feelings, and then try to do whatever we can to process them at this time. They might resurface again sometime in the future, and we should respond to them. Then the same way is the way that we should reprocess them, with patience, with love, compassion, so that we can slowly, organically heal the wounds that go deep within our souls. What we cannot do is return these feelings with an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth method. In simple words, don't be angry or guilty that you are feeling anger. Write it out. That's what I'm asking you to do. Talk it out. Maybe run it out, as some of us do. Stretch it out. Walk it out. Dance it out. And pray it out. Just get it out without further harming yourself or anyone else, and do it and through the peace of Christ. That's how you do it. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Together we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves and always be good to each other. Remember, a simple smile to a stranger can help that stranger, change that stranger's life forever, and it can change your life. Don't practice an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Be more like me. When somebody smacks your right cheek, turn to left, because that's what Jesus really wants us to do. May God bless each and every one of you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and remember to always care for each other, especially